It's all about the branding, right? How you brand something is really important, whether it be a YouTube channel like mine, Culture Casino, and the merchandise that I sell on beachpunk.com, or it's about how you present things when you advertise them. That branding says something. And for video game companies and studios, it's exactly the same. How you're able to present yourself. The problem is that whether it comes down to how you tag a game, and we've got videos coming out on the other channel that gameplays talking about how tags have changed on games because of their poor performance. They're just trying to obfuscate what they're still trying to do. So renaming something isn't necessarily going to solve a problem if everybody knows what it is and everybody knows why you're renaming it. You're just continuing to kick a can down the road that you really should be paying attention to. But when it comes to Activision and Blizzard, their attempt to rebrand DEI is not gonna work. Let's jump into a story real quickly from obviously that Park Place, where John wrote an incredible article that talks about this. You can rename these things all you want. You can, and then ramp them up like they're trying to do with Bridge, which is just a fancy way of going about DEI, ESG combined together to give you something even more disastrous and remove merit and, in favor of, things like equity, which again, you can't possibly do. But look, with Activision and Blizzard rebranding DEI to inclusive growth, nobody's fooled. Nobody was going to be fooled. Anybody you thought would be fooled are already fools. So yeah, let's not try to fool people anymore, okay? Because we know what you're doing. Let's jump into the story completely just by reading this. There's a linked newsletter from inside Activision Blizzard reveals that the company is internally rebranding its diversity, equity, and inclusion group to inclusive growth in the wake of public rejecting wokeism in nearly all levels of society. And if you don't believe that, just look what Heinerscheid did to Bud Light as it slides down to third place now in the total amount of beer sales. The number one beer in America, used to be anyway, is now third and moving down quickly. And while that won't hurt Anheuser-Busch overall and their owning brand, their parent company, AB InBev, what it will do is it will, well, draw attention to the fact that when you do this, things go bad. Ask Harley-Davidson or John Deere or Jack Daniels or any of these other companies that have gotten a recent taste of what happens when you do the wrong thing and how quickly companies recognize that they have been shown to be what they are and what they've done, and how quickly they retreat from it, like Tractor Supply. But let's get into it. Former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern, aka Grums, who's been giving us so much great information in the last 18 months to 2 years, shared a newsletter from Activision's new head of inclusive growth, Casey Morris. Okay. Morris wrote, "We have some new news to share. Going forward, we'll be changing the name of our group from DEI to Inclusive Growth to represent the dynamic and strategic work our team is doing to bring inclusion and equity to our people, candidate, game development, and creative process across the business." Yeah, you guys, this is getting worse. This is sounding more and more like, the move towards a social credit score and other things that they just are trying to obfuscate. Of course, all of these entities will be required to track your credit score, your social credit score in a way, but we'll leave that to another video. That's not really the purpose of this one. But Morris wrote that this change to use inclusive growth also better reflects the dynamic and amazing audience that plays our games today and ensures we are growing in the right ways with our community. No, it doesn't. It's more of the same, if not worse. And not to mention the fact that the vast majority of people that play your games that aren't phone games are still male, and you still have a significant, if not substantial, audience that doesn't fit into these pocket categories that you're trying to basically write into these games. And nobody wants to do, or play the games that you're developing, and even fewer people still will support you. You're willing to sacrifice pretty much everything in your dominant position in the world by moving forward with this. And I guess you're fine because your parent company is also fine, but that's again another video. Morris also concluded This adjustment does not impact one of our core values of championing DEI. That work and value remains critical to our culture. This change simply better reflects our strategic people and business opportunities as we look into the future. Well, that's a real problem. And I have a feeling that this newsletter will come back to bite them in the hiney. If you have any questions, they actually have a FAQ you can go check out. This is Casey Morris, head of inclusive growth. Grum's commented, Activision and Blizzard rebrands DEI as companies flee the label and downplay DE&I and ESG. The terms are now deemed toxic to their political agenda, but nothing is changed. They are just trying to hide it now, and they're doing a very poor job of it. He added, I've confirmed this with multiple sources inside Activision Blizzard. Kirsch called it months ago. The rebrand is here. No doubt. This rebrand comes in the wake of a number of major corporations completely ditching their DEI departments, including Tractor Supply, John Deere, Harley-Davidson, Jack Daniels, all of which I mentioned earlier, from their customers led by Robbie Starbuck as he continues to show people what these companies are. Changing the name isn't going to solve the problem, and you're still going to get called out for what you're doing because it's not something that the customer wants, and it's certainly not a way to run a company. And in fact, you're probably running against a lot of different laws. You're also pursuing something that isn't in the shareholders' best interest. So again, you could be pursued for legal action. In fact, I would start to encourage investors to band together for uh, class action lawsuits in pursuit of removing this from corporations. I also hope that in future leadership leads this country, they will look into basically going after every single one of these entities through the administrative entities of these corporations. The SEC should be certainly involved. This is a financial crime that's being committed for lack of, the fiduciary duty that the investors deserve. If you offer stock, you're going to get in trouble. And if you violate this on terms of employment, you're going to get in trouble. I think the fines should be so significant to the first few companies that are subjected to this kind of scrutiny that no other corporation will ever consider doing it again. It solves the problem. But we've tangented away from what I wanted to talk about. The Wall Street Journal report at the end of June revealed that woke policies do not lead to growth, and that a study by McKinsey, which is the most flawed entity out there that people still actually listen to, way back in 2015, has not been replicated, and firms' methods to determine its results are being questioned. And you know what? They should be, because they don't yield anything. James McIntosh wrote that academics have tried to repeat McKinsey's findings and failed, concluding that there is, in fact, no link between profitability and executive diversity. And the methodology of McKinsey's early studies, which helped create the widespread belief that diversity is good for profits, is being questioned because you want to be able to pick the best candidate, not the one that makes you the most diverse. That's a wrong think, if I've ever heard of one, because it's not borne out in the numbers or the success of anything. McKinsey lied. They'll continue to do so. He added, academics can't replicate McKinsey's study precisely because it keeps secret the names of the companies it used. Of course they did, because maybe they didn't use anybody of repute. Maybe there was already diversity inherently in the company because, well, those are the professionals that were qualified to do this. None of this is something that you can repeat scientifically, therefore, it is not valid. But a paper published this year finds the McKinsey's methodology doesn't show benefits from diversity for S&P 500 companies for a range of profitability metrics. It isn't that a lack of diversity is good for profits either. It's just that there's no link. In other words, there's no way to draw any conclusion from anything that McKinsey's ever said. And I would be running away from them as fast as possible because I think they're going to eventually be sued for basically all the unsubstantiated claims that they made. So outside of this, gamers have organized themselves against woke ideology with various Steam curator lists, the largest created by our friend Cabrutus Rambo, who called himself over there, or the list, I should say, Sweet Baby Inc. detected. It has over 425,000 followers, including me. He also launched an entire website to expose DEI in games called DEI Detected, which they tried to take down but lost. Gamers have had numerous wins rejecting games infected with woke ideology and making game developers and their corporate masters pay. And we definitely are covering several of those over on That Game Place, which I think you should probably go check out and subscribe to right now. Because not only am I there with a great team of gamers, but we actually bring you news about gaming in a way that you're not getting it anywhere else. So check it out. Sargent Studios began laying off employees after gamers did not purchase Tales of Kenzera Zao. That's a gaming studio directly affiliated with one of these consultancy groups, and boy, is it not going well. Remedy Entertainment's Alan Wake 2 has still not broken even nearly a year after its release, and their financials do not look like those of a healthy company. That's not good. Of course, Warner Brothers Discovery took a $200 million impairment charge because of Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. And sales for Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, are terrible, and the developer A44 Games began laying people off months before the game even released, realizing that the game was already dead. And if you've seen the gameplay and the game itself, you would probably understand as well. And I think the most important thing here that's called out by John in this article is what Grum's notes is that the ideology itself is not being eradicated from Activision Blizzard as it was from the other places, Tractor Supply, John Deere, Harley-Davidson, Jack Daniels. I can go through a list, but there's that. It's basically attempting to shed its skin and dupe people into thinking it's gone, but it's not. So they just need to keep their feet to the fire and continue to point out what they're doing wrong. Much like we've been doing to Ubisoft, who's about to release two games that are going to perform very, very poorly. At least I believe so. Maybe you don't. Anyway, this most definitely is the case with Activision, given its rebrand comes in the wake of a report in May from Grums that Activision was placing DEI officers on all of its projects. He shared that bonuses and reviews for Activision employees depend on how hard you DEI. Guess what? Activision, Blizzard, you're done. Gamers can take a break from you. You're a luxury. We have older games we can go back and play. We don't have to support your new games. We can actually pull out of supporting all your games. There are plenty of MMORPGs out there. And let me tell you, at a certain point, you can get really tired of the grind. And as Grum says, finally, DEI officers are installed on every dev team to ensure the message. Again, that's all because of Microsoft. And it's only going to get worse. Lastly, Kern relayed that of all the AAA studios out there, my dev friends and contacts who have come forth tell me that Ubisoft and Activision are the very worst. Well, I'm not surprised. Are you? Anyway, I'm interested in what you think because kind of you've already heard what I think. And I think everybody's just kind of tired of propaganda. I can't imagine that anybody is looking for games that have this kind of ideology in them. They are never very good because they always have a terrible story because they're always trying to preach to you. And I don't think you want proselytizing in games. I don't want to be preached at. I don't want to be told what to think. I want to play a game that allows me to escape and enjoy myself. How about you? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And you know what? Double check that you are still subscribed down there because a lot of people have been getting unsubscribed. And to the 65, or I guess it's way more than 65% of you out there that are not subscribed that watch my content, please do so. First of all, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you turn on all notifications, you won't miss a video. You won't miss a live stream. And those are an awful lot of fun because, hey, I talk to my audience, unlike some people. We also have a lot of merchandise to offer over at beachpunk.com. If you want to check that out, talked about that at the beginning of the video. But most importantly, hit the thumbs up and leave me a comment. Share the video out on your social platforms. It helps. I don't use Facebook, and yet I'm starting to see people share these great stories to Facebook, and I appreciate them. And if you're looking for an individual story that may not be getting covered or doesn't have any light shown upon it at all, let me know that in the comments section too. Maybe I'll take a crack at covering it for you. And on that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.